There we go. Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile Maize High School head coach Rocky Helm and Bishop Carroll's head coach Charlie Ebright. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for having us.
So, last season, high school baseball got canceled because of COVID. What are you looking forward towards this season?
Well, I'd say, really seeing the growth in kids over the year. Obviously, we only got about 2 weeks with our incoming freshmen, and so I was really pleased with the freshman class. So I'm really excited to see what kind of gains those youngsters have made and see if they can help contribute. Obviously, our seniors got a good class, looking forward to seeing them get back on the field, and got a lot of good dual sport athletes, and ready to get on the field again.
Right. And you, Rob?
I'm going to echo a lot with what Charlie said. First, the disappointment with our seniors last year not getting an opportunity to play. I don't know how we were done, but it was a pretty special class for us, I think. They had some great guys and, great work ethics. But, the biggest thing for me is just the opportunity to get back on the field. Obviously, it's what I love to do, and, hopefully we can make kids better. And, I'm excited for who we have coming back as well.
So how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
I always hope, and we always try to, our goal is to try to be in the top of our division. We have a good senior class coming back, really good senior class, really good junior class. And, we can sprinkle in a few sophomores as well, I think. But, it's going to be competition, and if we can have competition, anytime in practice, it's going to make us better. So, I'm looking for those opportunities as well.
And Charlie, how do you think your team's going to do?
Well, we return our ace, and so that's always good to know you've got that in your back pocket. So really developing pitching was a concern last year and will continue to be this year. So if that goes well, I think we can put 9-10 guys out there that can compete well for a league title and a chance to make it back to state. I think we have that group of guys. So. It's just a matter of, putting in the work and everybody gelling together. And, so I think we'll have a good solid team.
Good. So if you could describe Rocky's program in one word or a sentence or two, how would you describe it?
Well, we've been at this for a long time. I think Rocky became a head coach the year before I did. I think he's got a year on me. And I was an assistant. I think we played Maize as well. So 22 years, something like that. We've been going at it. Just consistently successful program. He's had many of the coaches have been with him for. You can tell me, Rock, but long time. Good sized school district, a lot of talented kids, and they coach him up. So it's consistently one of the best programs in the state of Kansas, and that's why we've kept each other on the schedule.
And Rock, what do you think of Bishop Carroll?
Charlie and I, we go way back, as he said. But, that's a great compliment that he said to us, but I feel the same way with him. It's an honor to get to play those guys. We make sure it happens twice every year, that we can. But every year that we get him, we know it's going to be a dogfight. We know he's going to have a competitive team. We know he's going to do things the right way with his kids. We know he's going to teach those kids baseball. They're going to understand the game. He gets the talented athletic kids as well, and he coaches those kids up as well. And when we get together, it's fun. Obviously we both compete and we hate to lose, but with great games. That's what it's all about.
So it's easy for me to say you guys look forward to playing each other during the season and the schedule.
Very much so.
Those are games you circle, and these are games we want to play. So with that being said, what is a memory of a game that you two had against each other that's quite memorable?
We've had a lot, and there's not one that I can really just mention. There's probably 2 or 3. Probably the first one that probably sticks in my mind as a loss for us. We were playing at our place. I don't remember the year, but we had Charlie down by 9. We had a guy at second and an opportunity to run rule him, which doesn't happen very often. And they got us out, went to the next inning, and it might have been in the fifth, and it had to be the fifth. And they started hitting and got on a roll, and I don't know how many pitchers I put in, 3 or 4 or 5 pitchers it seemed like, and it didn't matter who was in. We could not get them out, and we ended up getting beat. I don't remember. It wasn't close. So it went from us being up 9 with a chance to run rule to they beat us by, I want to say it was 4, 5, or 6, something like that. So that's not a great one for us, but it's one I just went, wow, we couldn't figure it out.
Right.
You know, that's one that sticks in my mind. Real competitive when we had over at West Urban, like about 2004 maybe. And I think one of my pitchers, I think it was Eric Smith, might have been on the mound a long time ago. And he was a little vocal, getting after things and a little chirpy, and you know, things kind of escalated. It didn't get in a bad situation, but you know, the guys that were running, the crew, the umpires, they weren't for sure of all the rules that were going on. And we finally got into laughing at one another, going, you know, we probably know more than what they know at this time. So that kind of got to be funny. And then probably the last one that sticks in my mind, and I don't know if I've hit anything that Charlie has, but the year that we were able to both win the state tournament, we at the 6A level and they at the 5A level, we played and we had a really good night one night. I don't remember how many we won by, but you know, everybody around the area kept trying to compare 6A and 5A because they're both really, really good classes. And you know, obviously they were top of the 5A that year, we were top of 6A. And you know, everybody goes, you know, how much better is 5A than 6A or 6A than 5A? And everybody would always walk around and go, 18 or 20 runs. Because I think that's what we got it by, which that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
Yeah, and that's been a year, it might have been 05, but we had 5 losses and won the state championship that year. But you learn from those. Rocky brought up that game where we're literally about to get run ruled at Maize, and that was one of the most incredible comebacks, memorable games that I have, just as coaching, but happened to be against Maize. But I'm going to give you one. I think you said it was
11.
2011. Rocky had, they were 25-0, and just loaded up and down the lineup. And we were playing at West Urban, and it was going to be a 3-inning run rule. And
The lightning.
Lightning. And so we had to finish the game. It was still in the second. And so we finished it over at Bishop Carroll over on campus. And they needed 3 outs. I mean, we got a chance to hit, and I think we might have put one in play. And I'm like, hey, Rocky, you want to like finish the game or maybe play a couple more innings? And he's like, no, man, I'm not taking any chances with this team. Well, thanks for coming for 3 outs.
3 outs, go home.
Yeah. So, just one more quick story. I want to mention a kid. He was a freshman at the time, so this would have been like 2000, maybe 2002. And he ended up being one of the best players to ever play for me. We were playing up on Love Field, and it was a tight game. And I brought in a freshman left-hander that closed the game. And I was pretty nervous about doing that, but all the hitters on our team were just raving about this kid and the inter squads and stuff. And this is his first game of the year, and I'm throwing a freshman out to close the game. His name is Josh Bird. And he went on to have a great career at Bishop Carroll. But that, for me, just having the guts to throw that lefty in there as a freshman, first game of the year, and he got the job done.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool memory.
Well, there you go. Stepped up, did the job.
Yeah.
So I know you guys have been coaching a long time, like you said. If you could pick a player, and it don't have to be your best player, but someone that you would always want your program to emulate, who would be that player for you?
Well, I think probably one of the most successful. I mean, in my 22 years now, we've had 2 guys make it to the Pro Bowl, and that'd be Ryan Jones, and right now we have a kid with the Texas Rangers, Scott Engler, and he actually got invited to spring training this year. Scott was a kid that developed late, always had a talented arm, obviously. Jones was a kid as a freshman that came through. And just as far as love of the game, you guys know him well. The passion, the love, the work ethic. I mean, if you could have a team filled with guys like that,
Right.
You know, you're going to be successful. Yeah, so those two, and then taking a kid like a Josh Bird that wasn't a great athlete, just was a one sport guy, lefty, ugly, hit from the right side, ugly, but hitting a 4-hole, and he still holds some single season records for me on RBIs and stuff like that, and saves. And so you take a guy that just loves the game and is intense competitor, probably the best competitor I've ever coached at Carroll is that Josh Bird kid. So those there's so many kids to
Right.
mention, but those are a few that stick
Right.
out.
And Rob?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like Charlie. I don't know if I can pick just one, but
Right.
when I kind of think of what built our program, I kind of think of different kids that did different things. We try to look for leadership, and one of our great leaders was probably Thomas Clay on our 2011 team. He transferred in from Texas, ended up being a Division I kid, but he played center field and was way fast. He kind of just gelled and took over our team as a leader, and then that group, which was huge because we had some really good players. Back in the early 2000s, we had a bunch of guys that were really, really good. We had, Kyle Riffle, the Broscos. I know I'm going to miss guys, Rumler, Austin Halls, those kind of guys. But, probably one of the guys that was really, really big was Brent Melville.
Really big.
Really big, yes.
He was a man-child as a freshman, and obviously he went to Stanford and played, and did some great things for us. As far as a natural talent, he would probably be one of those dudes that would be way up there on our, the talent level. Towards the later part of the 2000s, Garrett Gould, who we had, who was a big-time guy on the arm, on the mound for us. Great kid. But really, when I look and try to put everything together, probably the guy that kind of emulates what our program is now about was probably Matt Beatty, that I had early 2000s. He went on to play to KU, was an all Big 12 guy, but he was just a dirtbag for us, and that's kind of how we built our program. Because you get those guys that walk around. I'm not going to say that they're prima donnas, but I'm going to use that word. I don't really like that word. But, I really love those dirtbag guys.
Right.
And besides him being a dirtbag, he was very, very, very talented. And, he kind of set what our program's about. And, that's carried on since 2001, 2002.
Right.
And that's just kind of how we try to treat our program. And, he was a great, great, great asset for us.
He gave us fits.
Well, with that being said, do you feel, let's just say within the last 5 to 10 years, guys, that there's a difference the way players played, like you just mentioned, like Matt Beatty and Ryan Jones, to play the way they play now? So you feel there's a little bit of a difference?
You want it first, or do you want me to? I'll give it a shot if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
Hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I'm
Right.
going to say it. I'm going to say yes. I believe there's a difference. What's caused the difference? I don't know that I have that answer. I just feel as a coach that sometimes we get kids nowadays that are feeling a little more entitled. I don't know if entitled's the right word, but they don't come with the work ethic and the desire and the passion that some of the guys we've had in the past. And I'm not saying it's not there, it's there. But I just feel like when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, how many years old, they've been told for their whole life that they're really, really good. And instead of going out and being really good, they listen to what everybody says about them being really good. And I just think there's a big difference, because I think they forget how to work.
Right.
And I don't care what happens, you know, our goal in our program, and I'm not saying every one of our kids does this, but our goal is to outwork everybody else every day. And sometimes I don't feel that coming in. So we have to break them down a little bit, get some things figured out, and then hopefully we can build them up from there. So that's just kind of what I feel.
Yeah, I think there is a difference. There's a lot of distractions. You know, being a teacher, an educator, parent, you know, you see that. Kids aren't outside as often. They're in their houses, they're playing video games. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't have anything against video games, but I think you have fewer kids that are playing multiple sports. And so I don't know, it's the passion. Sometimes I see, you know, guys questioning whether they want to play or not, you know, and that's fine, because I'll tell my guys, if you don't know whether you want to play or not, then don't play, because I don't want you to come out. But yeah, so I think there's a little bit difference there. I mean, we have some at Bishop Carroll. I mean, a lot of kids with great work ethic. I've always been able to say, you know, I've had kids that will run through a wall.
Right.
And I think that's something, a relationship that, you know, coaches, we have to build with our kids to try and pull some of that passion out, not, you know, force it out, but get them to enjoy the hard work, enjoy the winning, the passion. That it's something you can help nurture. But if it's really not inside them, it's tough. And with a lot of distractions, I think we're probably seeing a little bit of a difference there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, both of you guys have kids playing college ball, correct? How's it feel to be on the outside looking in when you go to those games?
Well, it's kind of nice because they both play for the same team.
Right,
so
right. That's right. They do.
So hopefully we can run into each other a bunch. But
Yeah.
probably the hardest part for me, I'm still learning, is to sit back and be dad and not be coach. And I don't mean to try to criticize or do what they do, but it's just, and I'm sure it's the same way with Charlie, we've been in so many different situations that we can kind of dictate and have a pretty good idea of what's going to take place before it happens. And, you know, probably the hardest thing for me is I got to back up a little bit and just remind myself that I'm dad, and he's got to do his thing, and I'm going to encourage him what he needs to do, and, you know, kind of let him live what he does. And so I'm learning, so that's new for me.
Yeah. Well, you've been through it with a couple boys.
Yes.
So Jack's pitcher, you know, and since he was 8 when he took the mound, I'm a nervous wreck in the dugout. I coached him a lot. There was a couple of years where I didn't coach him in the summer, and it was a lot of fun to sit back and just watch and allow him to learn from somebody else. Those couple of years were fantastic. I mean, we had guys like Beatty and Santa Gorski coaching my kid. I'm like, yeah, this works pretty good. I'll go sit in the stands. So now in college, still I'm a nervous wreck, but he's always been successful. Does he take his lumps every now and then? Yeah, but kid's got a ton of self-confidence, and so I just need to, you know, rely on his self-confidence,
Right.
you know, and but yeah, it's fun. I mean, I'm having a blast getting to watch him play in college. Looking forward to, you know, the spring. Yeah.
So, Charlie, you have a daughter.
Yeah.
She plays volleyball.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's great. In fact, about 1 o'clock today, we're gonna have regionals. She's been really fortunate this year. She's been starting libero for a great high school team in Bishop Carroll. They have 5 seniors, and they're 22 right now. She hung up the softball spikes, which is that's gonna be tough for me this summer, not getting to go watch her. But you know, hopefully they, you know, make a great run here in the last couple of weeks, and she'll probably play some sand, so I'll go watch some sand volleyball this summer, and that'll take me away from the ball diamond a little bit. But yeah, it's going well.
Good. And Rock, you have a young one that coaches for you and one that plays for you. How's that at the dinner table?
It's interesting. No, it's actually a lot of fun. You know, it's not that I want them to follow what I do, but it's kind of nice when, you know, that's kind of their passion and that's their goal a little bit. But yeah, my oldest Colton, you know, he actually played at Hayes for 3 years. Pretty much a student of the game. He actually has taken over some summer teams, and I offered to be his pitching coach. So it means a lot to me when he comes and asks me questions about coaching and how he should do things, and you know, and what he should do in certain situations like that. But you know, that's pretty rewarding for me. And you know, I think he has an opportunity and a chance to be a really good, successful coach if that's what he wants to do in his life. You know, he's still trying to figure that out as he moves forward. And then my youngest one is a junior, playing for me this year. He's almost a spitting image of Colton, so they butt heads quite a bit. But I mean, it's a good thing. They were both, you know, they were both kind of late bloomers as far as the game of baseball is concerned. But he's really become a student of the game the last couple of years, and it's become really, really important to him. And you know, I think he's finally starting to set some goals for himself. And it's always interesting watching Colton coach Landon and seeing how it happens whenever they have confrontation and things like that. But
And you have to step in and
every
decide.
every once in a while, I gotta say enough's enough, or just stop, or we'll get it figured out. So, because they're very strong. They're both really strong-minded, and so you know, it's been really neat watching them both grow in that.
A brotherly love.
A brotherly love.
There you go.
That's exactly right.
So, outside of baseball, do you have any other hobbies?
Oh, a few. I like to try to golf. I'm not very good at it. I like to fish, just to get my mind, you know, let my mind go and relax. I don't do it very often, but I like to do some things around the house, trying to get our house organized and things like that. If you went by, you wouldn't guess that right now, but you know, I like doing that. I love spending time with my wife and my kids and doing family things. And you know, I still like, even if I'm not around the game, I still like being around the game, trying to, you know, help kids with instruction and things like that. But you know, hopefully that's enough things that'll keep you busy. So, you know, one of these days, hopefully I'll get to retire and you know, reach out and do some of those things.
There you go.
That are on the list.
What about you, Charlie? Got any hobbies outside of baseball?
Well, yeah, my wife and I really like to travel. We've been pretty fortunate to be able to do that. So, you know, we're always looking forward to our next trip. Now, COVID obviously has kiboshed a lot of that, but yeah, I mean, we, you know, love going to the Caribbean, spending time anywhere on the beach. And, you know, I think, you know, we go to the mountains, we go to the beach, like being on the road. So that's kind of the biggest thing. And I don't have turf on my baseball field, so I get to spend a lot of time out there. And actually, I do enjoy it. Because when you put the hard work in and, you know, you overseed the grass, which, you know, I just did a couple weeks ago, and then you start to see it come up, and, you know, and then you sod cut the baselines, and you get those straight lines. And it just
Can't
looks-
get that on turf, huh?
No, you can't get dirty.
No, you can't get dirty on turf.
So I really do enjoy that. I mean, for 22 years, I've been, you know, putting a lot of time into the field over at Carroll, and actually it's paid off and gotten to play some games over there.
Right.
Obviously, we don't have lights, but so we're limited. But I would say traveling and groundskeeping.
There you
I like golf too, but I'm horrible.
So, last question here for you guys. Any advice to your younger players, future players, and coming into your program that you would give them?
Yeah, I'd say, you know, hustle is, you know, something that you can't teach. I mean, it's something that coaches will notice, and it's going to benefit you, yourself, your teammates, and it's going to be infectious among everybody else. I would say, you know, the weight room's an important thing. I mean, if you're a 105-pound scrawny freshman or 145 strong, you know, scrawny freshman, you're not going to bulk up. I think playing multiple sports is huge. I think, you know, getting out playing basketball, football, or soccer, whatever it may be, just really helps you develop as a complete athlete. And then, you know, baseball's a skill sport, and I would say, you know, you have to work at your craft. But I also think, especially under the age of, you know, 13, something like that, you need to take some time away from baseball and really have fun in some other sports. As you get to your, you know, freshman, sophomore year, you can start to specialize a little bit more. And that's where the weight room, I think, when you hit that sophomore year, you really start, you know, developing your skills and your body. And like Rocky said, some of our guys are late developers. I know my son was as well. I was as an athlete. If you love the game, stay with it. Both of us probably end up having to cut some guys. I was a kid that got cut in high school my first 2 years, and I was at a talented program, and you know, I didn't want to give up, and I ended up, you know, I'm still in the game, and played 4 years of college baseball, got some of that paid for. But I say, you know, if you love the game, don't give up on it, keep working, and build your skills. In the off season, work on your weaknesses, build up on your weaknesses. Those are things that I would give advice to any young man or father that was trying to help their son.
And Rocky?
Charlie actually said a lot that I have on my list, but that's all right.
He got it all, checked it
He
off.
got most of them, but
Kinda all over the place.
Yeah.
you know what we really teach our kids to do as well, and our motto is don't be average. And I kind of have to explain to them what that means. If you really want to go above and beyond, and if your goal is to try to be a guy at the next level, you know, you can't just show up when you want to show up. And, you know, you got to put in the work. Because, you know, it's been a long time since I played at the collegiate level. I know things have changed immensely. I know guys are bigger, faster, stronger. You know, in today's world, I don't know if I'm a Division I guy anymore. I don't know that answer. But I know way back then that if I was going to be that guy, I had to eventually spend time doing, you know, and taking care of all my skill or, you know, everything that I needed to get better at. And you know, we really try to harp on our guys, you know, that they have to do that stuff if they want to be that guy at the next level. We encourage guys to be multi-sport kids just because we don't really like them training the same muscle group the whole time. It trains so many different muscle groups. It teaches them different situations, different outcomes that can happen in different sports. You know, I love having football guys that are baseball players because they're tough. You know, so I mean, we work on those manners as well, and you know, probably the biggest thing we get at is just trying to teach kids to respect the game of baseball. And they don't really understand what we mean by that, because when they become a husband, when they become a father, when they get out there in the real world, there's so many lessons that baseball teach kids. If they really want to take all that stuff in as they're growing up, you know, they're going to be a great husband, a great dad, you know, in the future. And baseball is a wonderful game, and if they really understand everything that it truly teaches, besides doing what they want to do, you know, they're going to be a great person when it comes out in society later on in life.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys for today. That was awesome. I appreciate it. That concludes this week in baseball player profile show. I want to thank our sponsors, Play It Again Sports, 316 Baseball, Elite Recruiting Consultants. Next week we profile Reed Liston of Derby High School and the Neosho commit. Thank you.